I've always said the fish rots from the head down, and you got James Dolan, and it's going to rot the entire team from front office to coaches to the players.
But he's
I
staying out of the way, so how?
Yeah, I mean you can say that, but we don't know that for sure, and I would bet against that he's staying out of the way because he's James Dolan and he's very Jerry Jones esque. He probably even worse to be honest, because at least Jerry Jones has likable qualities. James Dolan's just an asshole. Um, and he's a crybaby, a whiny little silver spoon. Like freaking fans are yelling at him and whatever, and he's getting them banned from the arena and stuff.
Okay, well,
You have
Brandon, there are a lot of really bad owners in the NBA. There's a ton, and there's a difference between many of them. The Knicks owner and James Dolan may not be a good person, but he spends money on the team. You look at Robert Sarver in Phoenix and many others, they won't spend and go further into the luxury tax. But that has been the issue with Dolan. He's willing to spend. And so long as the owner is staying out of things, which he has after hiring Leon Rose and Scott Perry, and spending money on the team, he's done those two things. So he's not the issue in New York. The issue was the Isaiah Thomas era, leading to Steve Mills and Phil Jackson. That is the problem. It's not ownership. I know you don't like James Dolan, and I'm not disagreeing. I'm not saying he's a good person. I don't know him personally. I don't really have an opinion on him. Not a good owner, sure. But you're overanalyzing what's not the root issue. And now the Knicks are finally starting to build some continuity and consistency with these draft picks because Rose and Perry not only getting Quentin Grimes, but quickly and Jericho Sims, the Knicks are making some pretty good picks in the back end of the draft. And RJ, though it wasn't their pick per se, they are developing. And you said before that RJ is selfish, and quite honestly, I don't really see that at all. I think RJ's focus, it's like his pursuit of being great is what sets him apart. It's kind of why he was that alpha dog prospect coming out of Canada. And in the NBA, the consistency hasn't been there as a finisher. He shot 71% at the foul line last year, which isn't good for a player whose game really revolves around that. And he still has to, gain more consistency as a three-point shooter as well. But he's shown the capability to score from every level, and he's a pretty good passer. He can wrap around ball screens and make some pretty advanced finishes. Not finishes, but finishes to his teammates, finds on lobs and some kickouts. I think at large, him not playing a lead role for the Knicks in his second season, where he's really just relegated to a spot up corner shooter role, that hindered his development to a point where he wasn't a focal point because the Knicks are trying to win games with Tom Thibodeau, and that was my issue. They weren't prioritizing RJ's development, they were prioritizing Julius Randle, and the ceiling with him was an embarrassing first round exit where he couldn't even shoot 30% of the field. I'm saying with RJ, he's not selfish. He's a very skilled all around wing player, and we look at what Boston's doing, all these teams like the Miami Heat, who have very good defenses and they're very consistent in the regular season, wing players are at the core of that because in today's league, they may not be the most refined as a passer or a ball handler. Those guys are the most valuable position. Athletic wings that are tough, work their tail off, and are skilled enough to score at a high level, defend many positions, and be a pain in transition. So that's what I have to say, man. I think the Knicks talk, it can't be so negative because this franchise is turning things around. And like I said before, James Dolan is not in the way of that. He has gotten out. People can learn over time. Owners can improve, just like a head coach, just like an NBA player. And that's why his reputation as one who has done a poor job in the Knicks in the past shouldn't just write off or discard this team as one that is headed in a good direction. Now, on the court, I think Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle is a terrible fit, and I don't have this even as a top 8 seed this upcoming season. But still, you're seeing some level of stability for the Knicks that has not been present during my entire lifetime.
I want to say, so if they make this deal for Donovan Mitchell, right? First off, they're gonna have to give up a lot, right? Um, Second off, now you've, if you've listened to the show, you know I'm big on Donovan Mitchell coming to Miami, up in Miami, my Miami Heat hat right now. But the reason I'm high on him coming to Miami is because he's not going to be the guy. That's Jimmy Butler. He's going to have to be the guy on the New York Knicks. I don't know if he can be the number one on a championship team, especially when you tell me his running mates are RJ Barrett and a possible Julius Randle if he stays. I that's not good enough to get the job done, even in the East, which is getting better. They won't be able to compete with even like the Sixers. They won't compete with Miami, Milwaukee, Boston, or even the Nets. It's just, and also RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Donovan Mitchell all playing on the same court together. That for me, for some reason, that just does not click. It does, like they're all score first guys. They all need the ball to affect the game and impact the game. None of them are real playmakers. Like I don't see how it all works together. Um, so yeah, and
Let
the
me tell
reason
you,
like
it doesn't work together.
it doesn't, and that's another thing why I'm high on him coming to Miami because we are a ball movement team. Jimmy does not need the ball to impact the game at a high level. Bam does not need the ball to impact the game at a high level. And Kyle Lowry can be the ball handler to set everybody up. And then Donovan can just do Donovan things, which is be an athletic freak and shoot the ball pretty solid from mid range and knock down some big 3-pointers. So for Justin, I just say like, if you tell me Donovan Mitchell is the guy and you're going all in on him, I think you're making a big mistake. And I'll say this again because I tweeted it I think like a week ago. If I see Donovan Mitchell traded to the New York Knicks, Donovan Mitchell will regret that decision for the rest, or it's not really his decision, but you know what I mean by what I'm saying. He's going to regret that decision for the rest of his life because he's going to waste his away 4 to 5 years in New York, not getting anywhere probably past. They might get past the first round depending on where they're seated, but you're going to fail instead of coming to Miami where you have a legitimate chance to win the final, to go to the finals and win. New York, you're not doing that. So they need a top 10 player to come to that team for them to become something. And I don't see a top 10 player wanting to come to New York or coming available to even for New York to even approach them. So again, I still see the Knicks as still the Knicks. You can tell me they're building stability and whatever like that. All right, that's cool. How is there stability when their head coach is on the hot seat? How is there stability when I just told you that if you even really actually sit down and think about it, your future is still the second round and getting bounced. Is that success in New York? No. Justin, you just got finished saying a couple of minutes ago the New York teams have sucked. Getting to the second round is not a success. 1973 is all I got to say. 1973.
I think everybody needs to temper expectations. Like I said, you're right. I said New York teams suck. So if the Knicks are getting to the second round and getting bounced, we want to see our team get to the damn playoffs consistently. All right. That's first and foremost. Let's get to the damn playoffs and let's see if we can get the thing done. If we can't, then we evaluate. But we want to see our team get there. If Donovan Mitchell isn't the guy, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. We don't need to trade for him. Fine. Some star will eventually come available or we'll develop one. I'm telling you, we're developing a really good team. And John highlighted some of the great picks that we've had, whether it be second round picks or not. We're building some pieces. I'm not saying any of these guys are going to become superstars, but
well, then that goes back to a point we were arguing against John last time we were on with Toronto. So where do you see this future? So I said you'll get to the second round if you have Donovan Mitchell. If you don't have Donovan Mitchell, you might miss the playoffs again. All right, let's just put that right there. All right, and if you do get to the playoffs, you're getting bounced in most likely 4 games.
The Knicks currently are not a playoff team.
Yeah, exactly my point. And if they do get in, like I said, if they do, they're getting bounced in 4 games in the first round. Donovan Mitchell, your ceiling is the second round because Donovan Mitchell is a very good player and he's a star caliber player with superstar upside if he can fulfill and reach his full potential. You say you're developing these stars, but then you just say there's no superstars and they won't become. That's my point. There is no superstars. They're not going to develop into super. RJ Barrett's not going to be a superstar. I don't know if he will even be a star. Maybe he'll get to all-star caliber, but
we don't know that.
Don't see it. Okay, and we're all projecting here. We're all projecting. I'll admit that, but I'm telling you my opinion. What I think is that I don't see it. So if you again, and we do have to look into the future. You say just get to the playoffs, but my guy, these guys are going to start getting older. Jalen Brunson's 26. What is this, a 4 or 5 year plan, 6 year plan? You say, let's just get to the playoffs. So when do you want to see them actually take real strides to get to the third round, maybe even the finals? Because these guys are going to be older and they're going to be gone by then. RJ's 22, but like I said, I don't see him becoming a superstar. Obi Toppin, is he gonna? I don't think so. Emmanuel Quickly, will he even be there if you trade for Donovan Mitchell? Like Quentin Grimes, like I don't see it.
They're not getting Donovan Mitchell. This franchise is not gullible enough at this current point in time to give up 6 to 7 picks, probably almost all of which unprotected. That's not worth it. Like you said, Brandon, yeah, Donovan Mitchell, he's not going to make this team a contender. This would make them Utah East, like I said before. And it's for that very reason. Why would you gut your entire future? Because Utah, though they were, like a first round exit to at best a second round appearance, Utah loves that. In New York, while you're in the basketball mecca, which I believe, this franchise is celebrating first round exits. You know what other franchises are celebrating or first round appearances? Other franchises that are celebrating playoff appearances are, in the NFL, it's the Cleveland Browns. And this league, oftentimes, it's the Washington Wizards. It's the embarrassing organizations that, people make fun of because they aren't actually that stable. So for the Knicks, I don't see them actually giving up so much now to get a player in Donovan who they're not going to compete with. It'll be similar to Carmelo Anthony, where the best case scenario is he attracts another star. But I don't know what star would want to play here when Tom Thibodeau, I think, will be gone in a year. And even while they have drafted relatively well, I don't think it's more attractive than many other destinations that have, Giannis, Luca, and so on and so forth. And at the same time, while it's nice living in New York, I wouldn't mind no state income tax in Texas. So
You know what I really want to see from the Knicks this year, outside of winning games. Maybe Julius Randle stands in the way of this, but I just want to see Obi get the most minutes possible. I want Obi to play. A wild stat for you. Obi in games where he plays 30 or more minutes is averaging 24.7 points per game, 6.8 rebounds, 3.7 assists per game with a split 57, 43, and 91 splits. That's what 31 that's what 30 minutes or more. The talent is there, man. Like I said, I'm not saying these dudes are superstars and are gonna be dominating all-star games, but I'm saying we have a team. And this team might be very competitive. They're gonna put lay their hearts on the line when they're out there. And like I said, we'll see what we attract in years to come. In a year after this season, if the Knicks, I said at the end of this season, I feel like there's more to be optimistic about this year than there was in a season that we made the playoffs. I still stand by that. So after this season, whether there's a playoff appearance in it, a play-in appearance or not, we're going to see something. We're going to learn something about this team. We have to see what we have in these young players too. I rather go into the season playing with house money than not. So why not just give the young guys their shot? Let's see what we got. Does IQ take another step? At the end of the season, he looked more and more like a better point guard. Grimes can shoot the ball. He's one of the more exciting players going into the season. Young players that we're optimistic about, that a lot of people are optimistic about. And I don't think if we made a trade for Donovan Mitchell, Grimes has to be in that package, most likely. So, like I said, we do have a lot to be optimistic about. We'll just see where it's gonna go. I know you guys watch the Knicks, and you guys not as Knicks fans. The Knicks are a joke. They're a joke to you guys. So hopefully they'll change a couple of your minds, man. Because I'm tired of being looked at as a joke.